I've shared with you before an interaction between a young journalist and Mother Teresa. The young journalist was just beginning his career, and he was in London, and he was told by his boss, the publisher, to fly to Calcutta, India, to interview Mother Teresa. And at the end of his life, after doing thousands of interviews with famous people, and at the end of his life, he was recounting those interviews and specifically recalling his interview with Mother Teresa, and said how at one point in the interview, he said to Mother, "No one sees and is around as much poverty as you, Mother." And Mother Teresa stopped him, looked at him in the eye, and said, "The poverty of the Western world is much greater than the physical of our people. You in the West have millions of people who suffer such terrible loneliness and emptiness. They feel unloved and unwanted. These people are not hungry in the physical sense, but they are in another way. They know they need something more than money, yet they don't know what it is. The poor can teach us contentment. That is something you don't have much of in the West." It is true that we are incredibly blessed in this community, in the western suburbs as a whole, you'd say. The schools, education that our children have, the safety of our neighborhoods, the food that we have on our tables every night, the homes we live in. We are incredibly blessed. It is also true that there is an incredible amount of anxiety, depression, addiction, loneliness, and emptiness, like Mother Teresa is talking about. In the gospel, we hear Jesus say, "Blessed are the poor. Woe to you who are rich. Blessed are you who are now hungry, and woe to you who are now filled. Blessed are you who are now weeping, and woe to you who now laugh." I know each time the Beatitudes confront me, every time I'm like what? Like, what do you mean what do you mean the rich and the sorrowful, or the rich and the filled are sorrowful, and the poor and hungry are the ones that are blessed? Like, it doesn't seem to make any sense. Well, let's make sense of it. Try to. And I think to do that, we look at our first reading today, Jeremiah, chapter 17. Out of all the readings from the Old Testament that the church could have gave us, the reading that she chose to pair up with Jesus' words here today are these 4 verses in the 17th chapter of Jeremiah that I think it really serves as a key to unlock Jesus' words. I think it really gets to the core of the human heart. It gets to the core of human flourishment, and to what Mother Teresa is talking about is this contentment. The Lord says through Jeremiah, "Cursed is the one who trusts in human beings." What's getting at here is the one's ultimate trust, their ultimate confidence, the center of what they're orientated towards. If my ultimate joy, my deepest purpose, the reason why I exist, is for another human being, whether that be friends, good things, family, spouse, my kids, you'll be cursed. It will mess you up. He goes on, "Cursed is the one who seeks his strength in the flesh." And the flesh here in Jeremiah and throughout the entire Bible, the flesh stands for things of the world, things that will pass away, money, technology. If my ultimate security is money, if what I ultimately strive for are these things that pass away, you'll be cursed. You might be talking about, what are you talking about, curse? Like, what does that mean? And like, how, and you're saying it will mess you up? What do you mean by that? And if so, like, how would I know if my trust is too much into these things and not enough in the Lord? You'll know when the heat comes, when things dry up. Jeremiah goes on, he gives us a picture of two trees. And what he's saying is that these two trees are depictions of the human heart. The one who trusts in human beings, that's their ultimate, where they place their ultimate confidence, their ultimate concern in human beings, is security. Ultimate security is in money, other people's opinions of me. He's like a barren bush in the desert. Stands in a lava waste, empty, uninhabited. I was looking up at a commentary on this to read about the bush, and the commentator talked about the bush there in the Middle East. It grew. This bush grows in the rainy season. The desert has rainy seasons as well, but it has shallow roots. And when things dry up, when the heat comes, and in the desert that always happens, the roots there, which are shallow, doesn't latch on to underneath deep enough for the waterbed, what it'll do, it'll try to suck the nutrients and minerals and try to suck life from a spot that just doesn't happen, and will ultimately shrivel up, dry up, collapse, and it will blow away. The one who trusts in the Lord, the one whose hope is in the Lord, he says, he is like a tree planted beside the waters. He stretches out its roots to the streams. It fears not when the heat comes. Its leaves stay green. Even in the year of drought, it shows no distress, but still bears fruit. Someone a few weeks ago wrote me or commented on a comment that I saw on one of the homilies that I have up on YouTube, and her comment is just, it's such honesty in her comment. It's so beautiful. Her comment read, "When my husband died of cancer, my trust in God paused. In this difficult time, I see that what I really want is my way rather than trust in God. And it goes in my head in circles," she says. "It drains me." She went on in the comment that said, she said, "During this time, the Lord revealed my sin to me." And that is often the case, that our sin is revealed to us during this time. Our attachment, what we ultimately trust in. What she's saying is that in this difficult time, in the heat here, the drought, she realized that her roots were latched on to something else that didn't go deep enough. So she's there trying to suck the nutrients and the minerals and the life from something that just caused her to run circles in her head. That caused, as she said, drained her. This is where anxiety comes into play, and addiction, and sin, us turning towards sin. Question, what tree am I? What do your roots and my roots go deep down into? What does it latch onto? You don't have a choice not to latch onto something, and neither do I. We latch onto something, and to what extent is it human beings? Family, spouse, kids? Is it money, my ultimate security, my confidence, like my safety is in this? Satisfaction? And don't dismiss it so fast. Be like, yeah, okay, but I trust the Lord. Don't dismiss it so fast, because our hearts And don't beat yourself up about it either. Because our hearts tend this way. Our hearts tend to latch on to these other things. Ever since the fall, like my heart tends this way. Especially, you could say, maybe living in the West, like Mother Teresa said. Especially maybe with maybe the way we were raised. Especially with maybe living in the Western burbs. Some of you, I know right now, are out there and you're running circles in your head. And you're drained up. Like our ultimate trust can so easily be in human beings. Or my ultimate confidence and security can so easily, even without even me knowing or trying or wanting it to, can be the wealth. Can be money. Can be approval. Can be the pleasure. It can be what other people think about me. And it might be fine for right now. It might be fine right now in the moment. Maybe the drought hasn't come yet. The heat hasn't come. But it will. It always does. So I want to close with this. Maybe we're here, hopefully we're here, at least being able to say in all humility, it's like, okay, yeah, I know, like there's parts of my heart that does latch on, like my heart bends this way and it can latch on to too many things over here that I can tend to put my trust in other things. And maybe I've already experienced the heat or the drought, or I'm going through it right now. And because of that, I'm running circles in my head and I'm drained. Like, I got to fix this. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to leave here. I'm going to fix it. No, you're not. No, you're not. You can't. And neither can I. If you look carefully at Jeremiah, he doesn't say, here's a shrub in the desert and here's a tree by the water. He doesn't say that. He says, here's a shrub in the desert and here's a tree planted by the water. That's a big difference. The shrub is here in the desert, but the tree has been planted. Trees don't plant themselves. They can't. So we need to be uprooted. And see, that's what Jesus does. He himself entered the desert. Jesus himself was poor. Jesus himself was hungry. Jesus himself was hated by others. He allowed himself to be dried up. He allowed the heat to come on the cross, to be shriveled up to the point of saying, I thirst, to be blown away and to die, so that we might be uprooted and planted next to the Father and to receive from that stream if we but call upon him in need. There's the blessed are the poor. Because what do the poor easily be able to do just without even a thought? They cry out in need. They're in want, the poor are. The poor are in need. Won't someone please help me? Won't someone please give me some food? Will someone please bring me some clothes? Someone please help me. If we but call upon the Lord, Lord, help me. If we but call upon the Lord like a poor, hungry, sick beggar, help me, Lord. Heal me. Save me. I need you. Uproot me and plant me next to the stream.